It is really hard when you almost had everything you wanted out of life. You know, you were almost there, you thought everything was one clear picture. It is really hard to have that all ripped apart and taken away from you, and not to be bitter and cynical and look at the world and go, nothing works out the way I want it, and all this stuff was ripped away from me, and to let it seriously crush you. I'm here to tell you firsthand, not only is it difficult to not let it crush you, when it first happens, that's the hardest part. I grant you that's the hardest part. It's overwhelming, you don't know what's going on, your whole life is ripped apart. And yeah, a lot of you are going, well, I'm 15, I don't have to worry about this at all. But some of you might have to worry about this, hopefully not. And some of you have been through this and are still struggling, so that's why I'm sharing this part of my story. It's not a pity thing, it's just because there's some people out there who need to hear this and need to hear other people share this kind of stuff. It's super difficult not to be crushed under the weight of the despair and the sadness, and looking at someone who was the closest person to you in your life betrays you and totally rips your whole life apart. The one person you thought was supposed to support you and be there for you and be there with you through things, and it turns out that they were lying or whatever it is. That's incredibly painful, and it can screw you up bad. It could screw up the way you look at the world, obviously give you crazy trust issues, and it just really messes with you. And it was a super hard struggle when it first happened, and it's still a hard struggle sometimes, because things like today will come up where it's extremely, extremely difficult. And a lot of times the people around me don't understand. They're like, why? Just calm down. Well, it's fine. Whatever. We'll work out a schedule or it'll be fine. It's like, it's not that. It gets all dredged up again that somebody violated you in certain ways and took away that which was most precious to you, and that you then have to go to that person and deal with that person to get time with the thing that's most precious to you. And this stuff just sucks. It really, really, really sucks. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm just sitting here kind of before I go and pick them up. I've been sort of thinking about where I'm at and how far I've come with the whole trying not to hate and trying not to be angry, because this is infuriating. It's an infuriating, frustrating thing to have happen. It is the most personal and the most painful thing in the world for someone to take your baby away, kind of. Like, that is the most hurtful, painful thing that can happen, right? Or even partially or whatever. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. That genre of pain is painful. What was I trying to say? But here's the thing. I've been taking this look around at where I'm at and how far I've come, and I realized that the whole quest for positivity thing really, really, really was essential. That it really, really, really was important and beneficial, and it really did work to get up off my butt and go, I'm not going to let this make me hate people. I'm not going to let this make me hate the world. I'm not going to let this make me think that all people are bad, that all people are out to hurt me, that life is pain and everything is going to fall apart. Listen, life's not a game. It's not all fun, and anybody who makes it seem like it's always all fun is either lying or selling something, right? It's not always all fun. Now, the goal is to make it as fun as possible, right? To have as much fun as you can during it, but that doesn't mean that there aren't serious negative things happening. I think the real key is not to say, life is a game and it's fun and we'll just not care about anything, because that's the other thing. I could also be that way. I could either be crushed under it, like, oh, I'm miserable, life is pain, and then you die and it's over with. Or I could have also gone the other way and be like, yeah, life is all Disney and life is all sugar and I don't have to worry about anything, and all responsibility and all goals that are serious can just go away, and we're just gonna party and we're gonna drink and we're just not gonna worry about anything. Those are two extremes that I don't want to have any part of. I neither want to be super, super cynical, nor do I want to like be intentionally super naive and stupid and like throw my life away. You know what I mean? You want to have some kind of balance. So life isn't a party. Life isn't pain. Life is about struggle. Struggle for balance, struggle for positivity, struggle to do something good, struggle to get what you want, and the struggle not to be crushed when you don't get what you want, right? So just because there's something in your life that's not working out perfectly, just because there might be something super, super painful in your life, and maybe for you it isn't a horrible, nasty divorce where, the custody thing is weird and you have to you have to go pick up your kid on his birthday or something like that. Maybe for you it's different. Maybe for you it's you're not getting that job that you want. Maybe it is a career thing for you. Maybe it is for you that's really difficult for you to get up and go work at Home Depot at 5 in the morning, or whatever it is. Maybe there's something you're still struggling with, like I'm still struggling with something super, super hard. Maybe there's something that keeps coming up and you can't control it. That's the worst part about my situation for me, is that I can't control it. That's what makes me angry. A therapist friend of mine once said to me that anger comes from two places. It comes from fear or lack of control, right? Feeling that you're out of control, which is also fear. It really comes from fear. But just not being able to control. Someone takes control away from you. You can't control a situation. It makes you frustrated. It makes you angry. But just like being controlling is bad, and seeing people who freaking fly into a rage when they can't get what they want is bad, it's just as bad to be angry about. Even if you're justified in being angry about something, somebody does something horrible to you and took control away from you, you're justified being angry. That is something to be angry about. Obviously, in my situation, or maybe in your situation, you have a terrible boss or whatever it is. But you can't let that be an excuse. Or are you gonna let that person dominate you then? You're gonna become an angry, negative, horrible person? Are you gonna become the same kind of monster that hurt you in the first place? I don't think that is a solution, right? I hope anything that I'm saying is making sense. That's not really a solution. You can't just let it crush you. So as angry as I woke up being today, or as frustrated as you might be with this thing in your life, or as just soul crushing as it might be and difficult as it might be, I'm here to tell you that I think the struggle is worth it. Because as angry as I am, part of me is super angry. There's other parts that have really, really worked out because I did not let go of the struggle to be as good as I can and do the best that I can and do the best I can to be positive and be as forgiving as I can and be cool, right? I just really don't believe in being negative. I just really feel like, I said this a long time ago, kindness is better than cruelty, love is better than hate, and wherever possible, forgiveness is better than revenge. And there's a lot of people who really don't feel that way. There's a lot of people who really feel like it's okay to be cruel. Like, you now have an excuse to be cruel. You are now justified in being mean and nasty. And sometimes, when somebody does something terrible to you and you need to vent, you need to say crazy things, it is what it is. But the goal is to be the best you can be, right? The goal is to not let that turn you into a nasty person. It's to be a good person. So no matter how hard it is, no matter how much sometimes I want to give up, even I want to give up, because as much as some people are like, oh, it's so cool, you got to go do this adventure and that adventure and you're going to get to go do this. Sometimes I just want to give up because I may be doing that and that may be something that's going really well. But then there's other parts of my life where I'm like, I'm going home alone. I'm going to go home alone and lay in my room alone and have no one to talk to about this horrible, painful thing that hurts me. And do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's not an invitation for people like, you're not alone, we're with you. I get that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that for granted. But you know what I'm saying? That there are plenty of things that even I am like, life isn't going the way I want, I should just give up. But the whole point is, you can't do that. No matter how painful the thing is, no matter how bad the thing is, no matter how difficult to talk about or awkward to talk about for me in this situation, you got to get up out of bed, put your vlogging pants on or whatever it is, and go do what you have to do. I think it's really hard for me. It's been really difficult until I have that, the cute little cottage somewhere with the little family and I get to do all this stuff and it's going great. I don't know, even then there'll be problems, right? Even then, all that could happen and then somebody could get cancer or something bad could happen to you. So should we just give up and not try for the things that we want? Absolutely not. We should not give up. We should keep trying and keep struggling to get what we want and to get to be who we want and to get where we want in life, right? I honestly think it's more important to try to struggle to be who you want than it is to struggle to get what you want, because things are sort of transitory. Even relationships can sometimes be temporary, or sometimes you can be locked into a relationship that you thought wanted to be permanent but I think it's important, no matter what happens to you, no matter what the bad situation is, to not let it stunt your quest for being who you want to be, right? So when you lay down at night in your bed and you're thinking of who you are, when you really think about who am I? Who am I? What kind of person am I? Or what kind of person do I want to see myself as? I think we all want to see ourselves as very just and kind and a nice person and the kind of person people would want to love and be friends with and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of the times we aren't. A lot of the times we are bitter, We are cynical, we are short-sighted, we are very selfish, we can be cruel and nasty to other people, but the thing is, we always think we're justified. We always think we have this good reason. And some of us do. Some of us have good, very good, traumatic, painful things that have happened to us where we have every excuse in the world to go out and be a hateful, nasty, bitter person. But when you lay down at night, if you're being really, really honest with yourself, when you really close your eyes and you really think about the interactions that you have with other people, no matter how justified you are in being negative, no matter how justified you are in hating or being cruel or being depressed or wanting to give up, is that who you want to be? Even when it's the stuff like depression, you don't want to be depressed, obviously, but even when you are that way, do you want to give up and give into it? I struggle really bad with anxiety sometimes. I don't want to let that make me stay at home. Oh man, sometimes going to a theme park gives me a lot of anxiety, being around a lot of people and stuff like that. Do I want to let that make me stay home forever? Do I just want to sit in a room for the rest of my life because I feel a little bit anxious? No, absolutely not. And I think if you're depressed and somebody gives you the advice hey, when you're depressed, and this advice really works, so I hope you take this to heart. At least it works for me. Everybody's different. When you're depressed, you need to get active with something. You have to get up and find something to do, even if it's not something important, even if it's running or if it's boxing, I don't care what it is. You have to get up and find something to do, somewhere to focus your energy and something to accomplish. Otherwise, you're just sitting in it, right? It's the same thing with all the rest of this stuff. If you're not who you want to be, you can't just let the excuses dominate you forever. You can't sit in your living room and go, well, I have this job I don't like, and my boyfriend doesn't like me, or my kids don't like me, or whoever doesn't like me, and I have no friends, and I'm ugly, and I feel gross, or whatever it is. Even when you can't control the situation. So-and-so was mean to me, and now I'm sad, and I'm just a sad person forever. But is that who you want to be? Do you want to go to bed at night and be like, I'm a sad person, all I am is sad inside? Because I really have to look at myself and think that sometimes. Do I want to be depressed? It's my son's 9th birthday. Do I want to go pick him up and have the attitude that this sucks and I'm angry at your mom and this hurtful thing happened to me and I'm depressed and my life isn't going the way I want and I can't give what I wanted to my son and I somehow this was a failure and I didn't keep the perfect family together. What if I could have done something different? That's not going to help anybody. That doesn't help me to be who I want, to get what I want, to be a good example, to be a good dad. It doesn't help him deal with it, and it certainly doesn't give him a happy birthday. You don't get anywhere by giving up and sitting in a situation and letting it crush you. So no matter how hard it is, no matter how much it chokes you up, and no matter how alone you feel with the struggle, because it is your struggle and not somebody else's. That's the other thing. You can't expect other people to do it for you. You can't expect other people to understand all the time. I get frustrated because sometimes when I talk about this stuff that hurts me, I kind of expect other people to go, oh my gosh, I know, you're right, man, how horrible. And sometimes people are like, oh, okay. They don't care, or they'll try and play devil's advocate with me and take the other person's side or explain the other person's side to me, and I get so frustrated, and then I realize, but it's my struggle though. And sure, I could give up and go, I don't want to struggle. I can be lazy, I think most people are. I think most people, not to be cynical, but I think most people really take the excuses and run with it. Well, I get to be bitter and grumpy at the end of the day, and I get to treat my family like crap when I come home because I had a hard day at work. I get to be nasty and mean to my friends because my girlfriend dumped me, or I get to do this and this and this because my kids asked me, or whatever it is. And I don't think a lot of people really take responsibility for their own happiness. If I want to be happy today, if I want to be happy tomorrow, if I want to go pick up that kid and give him a happy birthday, if I want to go do the vlog tomorrow and have an adventure, like a fun adventure, and make the thing that is working in my life still work, I have to wake up every day and make the decision to take responsibility for my own internal happiness. And even if I'm sad and even if I feel depressed and I'm struggling, not to put on a fake mask and be phony about it, but just to struggle and go, all right, I'm going to look at the positive. I'm going to think of all the things that make me grateful. I'm going to struggle as hard as I can struggle to be the person that I want to be. And even if I can't make my circumstances be how I want them to be, at least I can make my attitude what I would want it to be, right? Because I want to be the kind of person that I would want to be friends with. I want to be the kind of person that I would want to be with and be around. I want to be the kind of person who can be kind-hearted and caring and forgiving and upbeat, and who struggles and tries their hardest and does their best. I want to be the kind of person that can be proud of myself. You know, when I lay down in bed at night, or when I die someday, if I get the chance to reflect as I'm doing it, as I lay dying, I want to know that I tried as hard as I could. Because when I look at my own kid, I would never want to smother him and tell him who to be or what he has to do. I would never project my wants and desires on him, because to be honest with you, I feel like that would be really terrible. What I want for him would be for him to be the best him that he could be, for him to be the best of himself, to get what he wants out of life, and to be the person that he wants to be. And how I can help him and support him do that remains to be seen, because who knows what he wants to do in life. I don't know where I was going with that. I got confused by my own analogy. But that's the whole thing. I want to lay there dying and know that I did my best, because that's what I would expect from him. Is like, did you do your best? Did you try as hard as you could to get the thing you want? Because if you're trying as hard as you can to get the thing you want, and you're trying as hard as you can to be the best person that you can be, then I'm always going to have your back, and I'm always going to support you, even if you want to do stuff that I don't like, right? And it's the same thing for myself. Why would I have a different standard for myself? I have to hold myself to the same standard. Am I trying as hard as I can, not just to achieve the goal I want, like not just to get the guitar I want, or the car I want, or the clothes I want, or something like that, even a house or whatever it is, but to be the person that I want to be. Am I a forgiving person? This might go right hand in hand with a lot of people are going through Lent right now, so it might be like, maybe this is my Lenten vlog or something. But are you trying as hard as you can to be the person that you feel like you are? Because a lot of us feel like we're doing great and we're like awesome people, and we never really stop to think like, am I awesome? No, because I was kind of rude to my friends, and I don't spend a lot of time with these people, and I don't put a lot of effort into examining my own faults and working on my own character defects, you know what I mean? And I think most of us get kind of lazy about that. We accept our own excuses, we accept our own limitations, and then we make it everybody else's fault when something goes wrong. And even when it is somebody else's fault, okay, well, just pointing a finger and saying that's that person's fault, it doesn't change your life or make your life any better. You have to get up and do it for yourself. I have to get up and do it for myself. And I guess the only reason I wanted to share this wasn't to give a motivational speech, nor was it to say, my life is hard, pity me. It was just to share a little personal piece of my life so that you understand that even though we do some really cool stuff together, and we're going to keep doing really cool stuff together, it doesn't always mean everything's perfect. I don't ever want to project a false sense of perfection. Oh, if you go do this and this, you'll feel perfect. Oh, if you just have the perfect Instagram account, then everything will be perfect. If you just have a lot of Instagram followers, people say that to me. Oh my God, if I could just get as many Instagram followers as you, which I don't have that many Instagram followers, 13,000 or so. It's a lot, but it's not like, we're not talking PewDiePie numbers or something on YouTube. We're not talking about huge, like, but there are people who legitimately feel like, man, if I could just get 10K on Instagram, I would be such a happy person. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't change anything about who you really are deep down. When you're younger, especially, but I think a lot of adults fall into this, it's really easy to be like, oh, when you're young and dumb. No, it's when you keep yourself ignorant, when you don't know. You think that if you can just reach these little goals, you'll be happier inside. Oh, if I can just get this, get 10,000 followers on YouTube or 10,000 followers on Instagram, I'll be a better, happier person. Oh, if I could just get that car, I would be a better, happier person. I think most of us, including me sometimes, just think, man, if I just had $1 million so I could do this or this, I'd be the happiest, best person. But I'm telling you, I've got to do a lot of rad stuff that even I never thought I would get to do, and that all kinds of people are dreaming of. Oh my gosh, I wish I could spend every day in a Disney park. Oh my gosh, I wish I could just go stay in that hotel just once. It would change my life. It would make me a better person. It does not by itself change your life. I hate to burst the bubble. It does not all by itself. And by the way, this is so painful for my ankle, but I was trying to get away from all the lawnmowers earlier and come somewhere sort of secluded for the vlog. And yes, I'll go rest after this. But it does not by itself change your life. Having the thing, even having the little victory and getting your goal, even your life bucket list goal, does not all by itself change your life. If you don't take the time and invest the time in yourself, as hard as it is to examine the things that hurt and examine the things that are really painful. And sometimes the painful thing, honestly, is looking yourself in the mirror and going, wow, I screwed up. Some of us have to look in the mirror and go, wow, I became really grumpy. You know, I became really nasty. There's a lot of people out there that thought they were going to be the football hero. This is the old cliche, I'm just using this as an example, who thought they were going to be the football hero and didn't. and went to work at some company, and time slipped away from them, and they had a family and they liked their family, but they never realized that work and all this stuff, and never realizing their goals, and they had this bitterness and this sorrow inside of them. They never looked at it, and it built up and it built up and it built up until they're always fighting with their family, and they're always unhappy with everything, and they're controlling, and they're nasty, and they're negative, and they never, you know what I'm talking about, the old cliche of the beer drinking dad who's so unhappy with everything, and he didn't live his dream in high school, he peaked in high school and all that. And there really are a lot of people like that, precisely because they don't take a look around, take responsibility for their own happiness, and say, no, I'm not going to be that. I need to look in the mirror and say, yeah, I kind of became a miserable wreck. And instead of looking for the excuses to make us feel better about being the miserable wretch, like, let's just not be the miserable wretch. How about that? I just think there's two paths. We can look at the excuses. I know I'm going on and on and on. We can either look at the excuses and go, yeah, I have every excuse to be this way, so now I feel better that I am a jerkwad. Or we can go, hey, I'm a jerkwad. Let's work on that. I feel like that's the important part right there. So just because things look nice doesn't mean they're perfect. Just because it looks like something's great for somebody else, like you're looking at somebody else's Instagram or their body or their number of followers or their job or their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it is, and you think, if I just had that, I would be happy. Just because you see that from a distance through a little window of the internet or TV or whatever it is, doesn't mean that if you had it, you would be perfectly satisfied and happy. What makes somebody happy is the work they do on the inside, in their heart. Because there's plenty of people who are poor and never had the opportunity to go anywhere, and they're dumb, and they're never going to be smart, they're never going to be handsome or pretty, and they're never going to have, you know, the purebred dog and the fancy shoes and the purebred dog, what's wrong with me? They're never going to have the things like that are perfectly happy, because they learn to be grateful for what they have, and they learned to work on themselves as people, and they're proud of who they are and what they were able to accomplish with what they were given. And that's really the important thing. Can you be proud of what you've done and what you're doing with what you have? Are you happy with how you treat other people based on how your life is now? Don't think about, well, if I was just a little bit happier, if I had this, this, and this, then I would be nicer. But you know, the way things are, of course I'm grumpy. No. Are you happy with how you treat the people around you now? Are you happy with that? Are you happy with what you do at the end of the day? With what you do with yourself and how you conduct yourself, even if it's at a job you hate, now, with what you're given now? That's really, really the question. That's a question I have to ask myself too. It doesn't matter. Are you happy now? Probably not. You have to work on these things. It's just not easy. It doesn't get handed to you. So and by the way, I'm not preaching. This is me talking about myself and to myself. This is all the stuff I have been thinking lately, because let me tell you, the situation today made me a little cranky yesterday, and I was really having a hard time, like a really hard time inside here. And I was starting to like be snippy with people and stuff like that. And I realized like it had been a long time since I made a really hardcore self-examination of myself. Like, am I happy with the way I treat people when this stuff comes up, or the way I talk to people even? Not that I did anything super cruel, I didn't yell at anybody or anything like that, but just, am I happy with that? Am I happy with how much I let something sad control me? No, I don't want to let it ruin my day. I don't want to let it ruin somebody else that's more important than me's day. Like, I want to be there for other people, but to be there for other people, I have to work on myself first. So anyway, I know it's a long, rambling, sort of personal thing there, and again, not preaching, not thinking of anybody else in the world, because there's always somebody out there who's like, he's talking to me directly. How did you know that I was fighting with my brother-in-law? Like, I didn't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm only talking about myself, and if I use any analogies, you know, any resemblance to real life situations is purely fictional, unintentional, whatever, like the disclaimer they have in movies, because I use a lot of analogies. But I hope that some of it made sense. I hope that some of you made it to the end of this vlog, although I doubt many of you did. Some of you probably skipped. That's fine. We're gonna go do fun stuff tomorrow and the rest of the week, but I like to be honest and sincere. The thing that I pride myself on is not being the coolest, not being the smartest, not being the most handsome. The thing that I struggle for and that I try to do and that I'm the most proud of is that I'm very honest and sincere, and that whatever I'm trying to do, I at least give it my best shot. And there you go. So trying to be honest and transparent, share a little of my life with you. Hope you appreciate it. If you don't, you can unsubscribe, that's fine. But I hope you stick around. I love you all, I really do appreciate you. LiveFastDiePoor.Spreadshirt.com, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I'm still recovering from jet lag and from sore leg and from obviously some crazy stuff going on this week. My birthday is coming up on Friday, so then I have a whole other thing to deal with. Like, oh my gosh, another birthday. So anyway, I'm very grateful for all of you. Get at me on Twitter, Justin Scarred, and if you watched all the way to the end of this vlog, tweet me or something, or leave a comment that says alien slime. They'll know what that means. Okay, time for me to go home and, no, not go home. I gotta go to lunch. Oh my gosh, there's sirens everywhere. Hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody's okay. I hope you're okay. Look at that beauty. By the way, just really quick, sometimes it's hard to end the vlog because I just want to talk to you guys about everything all day. Oh, I saw a ladybug. I'm so distracted. Something shiny. This. Look at that. Just a side note, I am really grateful to be back in my own country. Nothing makes me so patriotic as going to another country, looking at how it works, talking to people how it works, then coming back to my own country and being like, dang, I like this place. I understand this place. Look at that. Look at those flags. The United States, California, the bear flag up there. Yes. Remember when we went to the birth of the Bear Republic that gave rise to the flag, and we did that on the vlog? Remember? We did a lot of stuff together. And soon, hopefully, just in a month or so, we will be going to the birthplace of this flag, or at least, well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to give too much away about my plans. But anyway, I'm just really happy to be home. America. For all of those of you who don't live in America, just insert your own flag and pretend I said your country. But for those of us who live in America, it's like in the United States of America, excuse me, sorry, Canadians. Canadians get touchy about that. Isn't it glorious? Old glory. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Okay, I gotta go. I love you all. Goodbye.